Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Tiffany. Also, thank you for being here.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Well, yes. Thanks for having me too. So we are the Galactic Trio here tonight, and we are very excited about sharing our experiences, our intel that we have from the Galactic Community, and we hope that we can answer some questions or bring some insights on any questions you have or any ideas. And please, those of you watching, feel free to share. Okay. And I want to introduce Tiffany Rose. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. Tiffany and I met recently when we did you did an interview on my YouTube channel, and a mutual friend introduced us. And wow, talk about another soul sister, another galactic sister here that's put on the planet to help us wake up, right, to our star families. So thank you for being here. Tiffany, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a mom of 3 daughters and galactic astrologer. Let's see. I should really know like a memorized thing about who I am, right?
Well, there's too much in all the time in the little time.
Well, there's too many titles for me to say them all, but I meet with people all over the globe for galactic astrology and other coaching. I just met with someone in Serbia a couple days ago, and I really had to look again, like, am I really meeting with someone so far away? And it's really amazing to be able to share with people, help them find their galactic guides, connect with their different lineages and groups. And I love that work so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. And I do want to say that Tiffany is an amazing artist when it comes to the galactic beings and cosmic beings. And she usually has a background there with her artwork, but for some reason, Restream wouldn't let her put up her virtual background. So next time we'll be on a different platform because I've already started using StreamYard. So hopefully it'll work there. But yeah, she always has this beautiful artwork behind her. And, but yeah, you'll see Tiffany again for sure. Ashley, please introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's good to be back with Mayu is here, finally calming down. I channel guidance for those seeking intimacy with the divine as source originally intended. I use light language frequencies and work with your soul's guidance system to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. And I desire a world filled with leaders led by love. So everything that I do is kind of based and focused around that. I offer star sessions, one-on-one sessions, one-on-one coaching, and then every year I teach 3 pretty intense courses called Divine Immersion programs, and they're 9 weeks long, and we're in the middle of the light language one right now, and it's going really well. So yeah.
Nice.
And then I get to hang with Sharon every month.
That's right. Yes. Thanks, Ashley. Good to see you again. Yeah. About me, I am Sharon Sanana Kumara, and I am in service as a, like Tiffany and Ashley too. We do so many things, right? Right. Okay. So I do private sessions as a psychic medium, past life therapist, soul with soul retrieval. I also am an intuitive counselor, spiritual therapist, things like that. All of that, all under one umbrella. So whatever comes through for you is what we work on together. I also teach courses, and through my Kumara Academy of Transformation, and I am a lifetime contactee, extraterrestrial contactee. I guess you can call them space being star being contactee, have been through the programs as a child. Remember this after my NDE in 2001, and still have contact to this day with much better beings. So I'm frequency being. And my role on the planet is to help as many as possible to remember our true self, their true self, and just remember who we are and what we're all about. So I am really happy to be here. Sometimes I hear people say, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be on the planet. And I hear that too, because when I was going through my quickening and everything, I was asking, oh, please just take me away from here. Please just take me. When you go through a dark night of the soul type of thing, especially. But I realize now that we're here for a very big reason, and we're seeing it happen all around us. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad that Yeshua Christ told me to go back in 2001 and said, not your time yet. So I'm glad I'm here. Yeah. Okay, let's start with some intel, okay, about what's going on in the galactic community. Anyone want to start? Go first? All right, I will. Please comment as we go, okay? Well, the big news in the disclosure, I guess you could call it, area of outside contact, personal contact with people, is the program, the AARO, AARO from the Pentagon, and their report how they welcomed whistleblowers, and whistleblowers testified to Congress, and they just a couple of days ago, I guess, what was it, 3 days ago, something like that, they did a news conference and said, we don't believe that any of this is true. Basically, we don't have any credible evidence that extraterrestrials exist, that we have back engineered technology, and that there's anything, we don't know what's in the skies, but we know it's not that. Okay, basically. Yeah, that's disappointing. But when you don't, I didn't expect anything from the government, to be honest with you. So if you don't expect anything, then you can't really be too disappointed. But I was listening to Dr. Michael Sala today, who does a weekly update on this type of thing in other areas, and I trust him explicitly. And he's been doing this type of work for a long time, exopolitics. And I understand what he's saying. He's saying that these people had created this area of the Pentagon with the idea of creating a safe haven for whistleblowers, and then they just punch them in the gut basically and say, oh, it's not, we don't believe, you don't have any credible evidence. And since we are in a information war, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, we could probably all agree with that this is probably one of those I see on an energetic level in that war. This is one of those takedowns from the dark side. If you want to go through the Star Wars thing, the dark side of things, and which is paving the way, I feel, for what we've been talking about on this show, and I've been talking about for a while, the false flag of the negative extraterrestrial infiltration, that type of thing. So just be aware of that is all I'm saying. Any other insights on that around the room?
Well, I was just going to say that they're reporting that they're getting like 100 different reports a month about UAPs, and that a lot of it's coming from the military. So it just makes me wonder, how could they be so confused? Right? Like they see all of these things and they describe them as odd shaped or, just different, very, very, very different. All of these pilots, I mean, aren't they? They're highly trained, aren't they? I just don't see how they can come out and say, "Oh, it's not true." I think they just don't want to. But I was reading earlier today that they're getting pushback about it. There's a lot of people angry and upset about it, and even some of the there was a congressional member guy that was going out saying, "Sorry, I'm not into politics at all," just saying we want it all declassified. We want everything. And I don't know. I think they're getting a lot of pushback. And I saw from somebody else that they're saying, well, if the US won't come out and say it, other countries will.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's truth to that, but I hope.
Yeah.
It's almost like sort of like dealing with a narcissist, right? Like if they admit to one thing, it unravels everything. And so in order for them to protect themselves, they can't admit to anything. And then, that's when the gaslighting starts, and you didn't see that, or that wasn't a thing, or, oh, this was that and it wasn't real, or we were testing something and you don't really know what you saw. And so there isn't, I mean, I don't want to say there isn't anything. There's things that you can do, but I don't necessarily think that it will get released in the way that we want. I hope that other countries release it, but I don't know how, then there's still going to be weaving in sort of the web of disinformation, right? Or the smoke and mirrors that's kind of always been going on. And I guess, the same comment that I always make is everything is about discernment. I was talking to somebody today and we were talking about transparency. I know that transparency is really important. I would say that transparency and communication are my love languages. And transparency is a consciousness. And it's a particular frequency. And so if you can't get into that frequency, or you don't want, like, you can't really be a little bit transparent, right? Because it is like a purified field of energy, and you can't exist in, I would say, like, high, like, not to like be mean to ETs, right? But they tend to be slightly like denser, right? Denser in body. So the higher the frequency of galactic beings, right? Like, they are operating in total and complete transparency. A lot of them, not all of them. But I think that this is a program that extends beyond even Earth and into different sort of vibrational levels and frequencies. And so maybe we might want to invite in the consciousness of transparency into our lives and see how that creates a lot of benevolent disruption.
I like that.
Yeah. What do you mean by program? Do you mean this matrix?
That's a good question. I mean, so if we talk about galactic wars, a lot of people incarnated into this planet, and they are often ones that find themselves in sort of warring energies and frequencies, so that anything that happens in this dimensional frequency affects everything above it, but the reverse is not true. So in very like metaphorical, clear, black and white terms, if Archangel Michael makes a choice, not that there's necessarily choices in that level, but, and if you happen to be of that lineage, it doesn't affect you. But if you make a choice, it affects everyone else. So there are different levels of vibrations and energetic frequencies of existences that exist between like us in the human body, and even some of our galactic counterparts, our galactic lineages and families. And those energies, like those energies are still there, right? So you could take like an Arcturian, for example, and they'll be very transparent with each other, but they might want to shield some bit of information from something else. And that's still not total transparency. So what does it mean to be completely and totally transparent, and what levels of those energies does that exist in? And so I think looking at it that way, especially when we have so many like frequencies of fear occurring like in this planet. Like, how do you enter into and hold the frequency of, and the consciousness and the frequency of transparency? And I think it has to be something that we are consciously dedicating ourselves to on a personal level. And the more people that do that and invite that into their personal life, then it extends out. And then there can be, then the government would have no other choice than to start releasing information. So I always think that like everything is a mirror. So if the government's like going to be playing smoke and mirrors with me, and maybe I come from a family that's also filled with narcissists, then how do I stop the narcissism inside of me, right? And if we are like children of the government, then what we're seeing, we might be repeating, and then it just infuses so much distrust in that sort of relationship. So I just think these are interesting things to look at, and I ultimately always end up landing on the what can we do in our personal life so that we can actually change the sort of the morphogenetic field, right? So every time we make a personal choice in our own personal frequency, then we are placing instruction sets like out in the matrix. So these little like pockets of information that can be beneficial for someone else, whether they're conscious that they're working with that information or not. But we start like shifting. It's like putting drops of dye in like an Olympic sized pool. If everybody keeps putting a drop in, at some point it's going to start changing its shade.
So you were talking about the Matrix. Okay. Sort of.
Yeah.
In a way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. With transparency, I just wanted to, a thought came to me as you were talking about that on a personal level. I know that I have been, and I talked about this with you last night, Tiffany and Ashvin. I have been asking my peeps to show themselves to me slowly. My extraterrestrial counterparts, my extraterrestrial team, the beings that I work with or that I'm seeing, and that part of me, because I believe that, and I've said this many times too, is that this disclosure thing has to be a slow process, because we are not used to seeing these types of beings so different to us, okay, in our everyday real-time life, walking down the street, working with them in the office or whatever, you know what I mean? And so that transparency thing, like you were saying, Ashley, is sometimes done in for me anyway, in steps so that I can handle it and I don't faint dead away when I see a different type of being walking down the street, because we're all wearing these veneers, right? We're all star beings, star seeds some way, star beings, and we have these veneers. We have this human veneer that we're wearing here. So yeah, it's exciting. I feel it's exciting.
It is exciting.
It is exciting, totally. Any other comments on the Arrow report? I mean, I will say one more thing though. I agree with you, Tiffany, and actually I think you mentioned it too, that it's going to take pushback, and it's also I feel like it's might have to be other countries that lead the way, because our I don't even like calling them government, because I don't see them as government. Yeah, the system. Thank you. The system is just so controlled that that I just don't see us going that way through the government, and I haven't trusted the government ever since I could think for myself. Ever since I had a thought in my head, basically, I obviously knew, but anyway, yeah, I think it's gonna have to come from somewhere else, and from the inside, us, like we're doing now, because we are the ones that are experiencing these things. People, the collective. Also, I've noticed that there's a lot more information coming out about USOs underwater.
Ooh.
Yeah. Underwater submersible, huh?
I said it's about time.
I know.
I would have thought we would have seen that first, because those portals seem more active and open to me, and they always have been. At least to me, they have always felt more active and open than other like portals and stargates that are like out in the sky. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if they're easier to be hidden. I feel like it's easier for like the cetacean beings and a lot of like this sort of deep creatures that are very connected to their galactic counterparts have been able to maintain those and keep them active. So I'm surprised that it has taken this long for anybody to notice anything.
Well, I think I have my own out-of-body experiences and visions of going in the water into underground facilities, underwater, not underground, but underwater facilities and bases, which is pretty cool. And it took me a while to understand it, but now I know what it is, where I was going.
That is cool.
Yeah, totally. And I had some kind of a key to get in. So I don't mean that's kind of key, but I mean a DNA key or something in order to get in. So I think we all have these places that we go as long as we're part of the galactic community like we are here. Yeah, go ahead.
Were you like free floating in the water, or were you in a device under the water, or a craft?
I was free floating, and that's my memory of it. Okay. Now I don't know if I was in a device or not on a physical level. If I was,
I don't know. It was just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I was swimming. I was going through the water pretty fast. I'm just there. I'm just underwater, and I'm going, and here I am, and this gate opens up for me. I end up in front of this gate, right? And it's in a facility that's stone or underwater, and I know I'm underwater. I've been there many times, and I'm in front of it, and it scans me or something. It does something. I opens, and I go in, and there's people within the gate, within the area, the front part of where I am, that are guarding it, and they usher me in and help me,
because you're one of them.
Yeah, obviously, for some reason. Yeah.
Could you see your body at all? Was your body the same?
I've seen my body many times. Sometimes I'm aquatic, reptilian type aquatic, and then some other times I'm human and mer type. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then other times I'm light. Yeah.
I love that.
It's pretty cool. So I will say that for me personally, things are ramping up with being aware of extraterrestrial beings in our everyday awareness, because I'm seeing more and more of them in my waking state, the in-between state, the waking state, alpha state, liminal state, whatever you want to call it. What about you ladies?
Well, I'm definitely seeing more than I was in the past, for sure.
Okay.
And having a lot more contact, whether I see them or not. I feel like there's a lot of people that are gaining interest in the topic that maybe weren't. A lot of people are waking up about it. At least that's what I'm experiencing. I get a lot of people coming to me who are very new to anything galactic or alien, and, wanting information from there. So, I mean, to me, I think that it's collectively people are waking up, and the more we keep talking about our encounters and whatnot, it's going to happen for them too when they're ready.
Yeah. What about you, Ashley?
I feel like there's a phrase that's been going on forever. So I always feel ridiculous when I say it. You know, like the earth is shifting. Now is the time.
And it's always now.
Right. But what I feel like that now means, it's like this is your like infinite now moment to actually be an active participant in your own awakening, and through that process then the collective awakening, because I really do feel like there is going to be a point, and we are getting closer to that point, where there is no longer going to be an option. And when that shift happens, the vibration is going to be so high. And I feel like we experienced this last week, actually. And I don't follow, like, I can feel the solar flares, but I don't follow them. But like through a friend of a friend, somebody said that somebody recorded, not somebody, but there was, the solar flares were recorded at such a high state that it was in the realm of psychedelics, like in the realm of like psychedelic plant medicine type frequencies. And I like to label psychedelic as anything that goes from, you know, a contact experience to, whether you've ever experienced it or not, a contact experience, breath work, any sort of altered state of consciousness, because you are entering and interacting with a very particular frequencies where the veils are lifted. But the problem with that is, it's not a problem, but if you are somebody like so many people out there that maybe have a lot of, you know, we all have, you know, what Carl Jung calls like the anima, the animus, like we have these subconscious layers in us, and the hell realms are there. So if you can't handle the hell realms and whatever that looks like for you, and you're not constantly engaging in your own purification process, I feel that eventually when the planet does hit this particular frequency while she's on her path to become eventually a solar logos, and then the only beings that are here that are existing are gaseous beings, just like our own sun. Like, I think that that's what the opportunity is. And I think the more experiences that we have, and I feel like they're going to get more extended, where there's these sort of this frequency of, I'm just going to say, these psychedelic type frequencies where the energies are like that high. I mean, think about what happened last week for you, maybe individually, maybe nothing happened, but there was, I've been feeling these like influxes of, you know, 2-3 days, like at a time, where I'm just like totally stone cold sober, but it feels like right before a psychedelic experience is going to start. Like I feel that very clearly in my central nervous system. And I'm like looking around and I'm feeling energies, and I'm just like, whoa, earth. Like just whoa, earth. And okay. And then, you know, I just go to sleep, ask for protection, because I don't really know exactly what's going on, but just whoa, earth, because something is really very intensely happening.
Mm-hmm.
So people are not going to have a choice at some point. Like it's just going to happen. It's going to be terrifying for some people. And somebody is going to have to hold down, hold the matrix, not like the matrix, but like the appropriate sort of divine blueprint of the planet. So being able to ground in that new earth energy while all chaos is sort of breaking loose, to hold down what reality is. So it's kind of like if you're helping somebody when they are having a psychedelic experience and they're like, I'm getting a message to jump off the roof. You're like, I'm holding the reality down, and that's not a good idea. So I'm just going to redirect you over here back into safety. So I feel like that kind of thing is going to start happening. And there needs to be people that can hold these higher frequencies and really be anchored in their body and really hold down like a really grounded, appropriate, aligned reality. And it's not one person, it's going to be a whole lot of people that are like spread across the planet. And just because somebody lives a life, I think that this has been coming up a lot, is that spirituality is like such a privilege for those of us that have the space, the time, the safety in our lives to meditate and to have a spiritual practice. We are so lucky. So just because there's people out there in the world who don't have the privilege of having a spiritual practice, it doesn't mean that they can't make the shift.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Definitely. Yeah, I've been getting that type of information for 20 years when I started, when I had, after the head injury, that's where we're headed. That's why it's critical for us to, in order to move through it with as much ease as possible, it's critical for us to do our work, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I have a couple comments here. Let's see here. What is this? From MK. Our galactic friends want to show up on our tell them to go to a Comic-Con. Like,
Yeah, that is.
well, they're probably already there.
Mike, send out the call. Tell all of your galactic friends it's safe to go to Comic-Con.
They're probably already there. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they go to all the shows. You
They're
know, it's
like,
funny.
that's how they're portraying us.
I want to share something real quick too. Diverging vibrations of the divine energy from Jeremiah. He put that comment up while you were talking, Ashley. So that's probably about what you were talking about with the solar flares and everything. I felt the drawback this week, I guess, from the higher frequencies last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know, it was. First, I want to talk about the avatars, different ETs. Okay, so I've had so many reality shifts where I am in a different body. I'm an extraterrestrial, some type of non-terrestrial, non-human being. So many, I can't even count. And why I'm doing that, I have obviously a reason for it. And I saw a Star Trek episode many years ago. I think it was the one with Janeway, where I think it was the one with Janeway. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, where in order to go down on a planet, they would change the way they look to be like the people on the planet, right? The terrestrials on the planet, and they would look like them, and they would do something in their lab or in their medical facility to change them to look like that. Michael Sala's insider, who's an army, he's in the army and he's in special forces. He shared intel with Michael Sala, Dr. Sala, recently on one of his podcasts, and he interacts with extraterrestrials. He's been a contactee all his life, and so he has permission to share information with Dr. Sala from some of his higher ups. And on one of his recent missions, he was interacting with tall Nordics, and they were communicating with each other. One of them he knew. He's been on missions with them before. And if you haven't seen his show, it's really good. And and he said they went into a ship, came out, and they were transporting them somewhere. Came out of the ship and looked completely different, but it was the same beings. Yeah.
As
so
a
they're
cloak device.
Well, they had changed their form in some way. Move their consciousness out of one body into another. It looks like maybe, I don't know. He didn't say how it was done, but I've seen myself that way. Star Trek has episodes about that. And then JP is giving that intel that they have that technology, which we probably have too.
Well, they showed that on the second Avatar movie too, that they put the guy's consciousness in the new Avatar.
Yes. Yeah, that's what the Avatar was about. Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, The Matrix, come on. The movie The Matrix, that just hit me too. Yeah. I didn't even think about those. Oh, I cried so much when I saw The Matrix. because
Really?
I'm sorry, Avatar.
No, I cried like a baby during the second Avatar.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen Avatar?
No, I saw the first one a while ago, and I haven't seen. They like start stressing me out. I get stressed out with shows
It's
like
so
really
good. It
But
was
I
so
haven't seen
good.
the second one yet. But I heard it's really good and that there's a lot of water frequencies in it,
It has some
or
bad.
downloads, transmissions, and stuff.
That's trend. Yeah, it's good. But I like the first one the best. But since
There
I'm
were
a
a lot
water
of
being, I definitely enjoyed the water one. But there's some yucky stuff in it.
Did you did you say that the being shifted consciousness into another being? Was that what you said? Not in the
So-
movies, but in the
oh,
No. What I said maybe they pull their consciousness out of one avatar and put it in another.
okay. I was just thinking something came through the other day, and about how, you know, maybe with all the shifts or something, or this is like an ability that I think that we actually all have, but you can shift your consciousness into another body as long as it's one of your bodies. So in Earth terms, that would be in a parallel lifetime. Because you're always connected to all of the parts of you. So if you can harness your consciousness and, you know, you're still having to hold some kind of space in this body, that you could shift it like that. And then I'm sure at some other levels, particularly if you're from collective consciousness and then you have bodies that are put somewhere, you could shift like that. I'm just saying that makes sense to me. That makes total complete sense to me. And I guess the other one does too, but that feels like a thing that we can do. And part of me wonders about, like, you know, some of your out of body experiences and you're in other bodies, and those are your bodies that are currently simultaneously existing.
My consciousness just enters into that avatar, and I'm aware of what's happening. I know in Tony Rodriguez in his book about the space programs, they talk about clones, and I remember the ETs telling me about my clones 25 years ago. As a kid, they made clones out of me or from me for the programs, and you know, that's another. And they would put, and I didn't know this, but Tony Rodriguez talks about in his book where he remembered pulling the consciousness out of his tear duct when his body was damaged so badly in any of the battles, and put it into another clone, another body. And I've always had trouble with my tear duct all my life. I'm like, that just blew me away that he would say that. And I remember looking in my eyes and looking, you know, 20 something years ago, looking in my eyes when I was getting all this information, saying, who am I? That kind of thing. Just looking really, you know, which one am I? Who am I? But I didn't know what was happening that much then. Also, Robert Monroe talks about having avatar bodies on other planets, that they would, if anyone's read Robert Monroe's books, that they would, he remembers an experience. He has a shift where he goes on a planet with other people, humans, but they're not in a human body, and they're like light consciousness plasma, and they pull out these avatar bodies that they have stored somewhere, and they just put them on and they move around on the planet. Just put them on like a coat.
That makes sense. I went somewhere like in like a meditation or dream space or something, and I was like, I had connected to my galactic family consciousness, and I went to go visit them or whatever. And I remember, like, as soon as I got there, wherever there was, right, I just remember taking off my chakra system and like placing it in a chamber and just being so glad to like not have to use it, and like went and did whatever I was doing. And then when I had to sort of come back here, I had to go and put that back on and to come here, which is what that makes sense to me. I mean, I believe in chakra systems, right? Like, I'm not saying that they're not real. They are real. But I also feel that they were created when we lost when we became more dense and our bodies lost the ability to actually be able to take in light and sort of heal itself. So then they became these vortexes and portals that are in our system. And ultimately, as we transition, we're here to dissolve the chakra system so that we can reinstate sort of the divine body and like that it functions how it normally does. And to me, the chakra system is part of an old matrix. And so as the grid system, excuse me, because it's all, I guess, a matrix, but part of an old sort of fractured grid system. And that's how things can come in and sort of attach to us, particularly and especially in all of us, but particularly and especially like in women, and in all of the creative centers, right? So that if you can control that, you can control the disconnection to the earth. And if you control the disconnection to the earth, then we lose our ability to heal through everything that is natural and organic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we become dependent upon inorganic things.
Yeah. So do you, Ashley, do you believe that it's important to work with your chakras and so that they're healthy?
Because they're still there and they still
They're
exist.
we're using them.
Chakras
Yeah.
and all of that is there. Like it's you have to work on both the physical body and sort of that is just one layer of the light body, right? So to me, that's a part of the light body, and there's multiple layers of the light body, and it gets more complicated, I think, as you go out. But there are particular parts of our light body as a human, like the nadis, the chakra system. I draw it all the time. The tree of light, like the tree. I can't even think of it right now. But I have it on like all of my things. But it's a 12 system. Like I think that it's in religion or whatever, it says it's supposed to be 10, but it's really, there's 12 and it's connected to our DNA. So it really helps the actual light body sort of anchor into the earth. But if one of our like primary layers of our physical structure is the chakra system, then the more that we actually heal our body, like our livers, do liver, gallbladder cleanses and all these things, then our actual body can actually take in the light and be able to handle it. So I feel that the chakra system was a gift to help us to be able to stay embodied, because it needed, like, you can consider it like a huge implant that every human got because we weren't going to be able to exist here. But in that, it was also connected to a fractured sort of grid system in a lot of ways. And it's also easily accessible to dark energies. I mean, if you have a really good like spiritual hygiene system, sure. But I mean, it's easy. So it's like, yes, you want to work with it and also work on the body. It's why if you study the chakra system, it's like, oh, this is connected to the liver and the gallbladder, and this is the heart. And so we have the heart chakra that's also connected to the physical heart. We have to work on both of those things.
Right.
So yeah, but eventually our chakra system should be able to dissolve, right? Like, because the body,
and we're fully
the body gets lighter and it can actually go back to its original divinity, like, right. I don't know anybody else that's what, but that's just that's messages that I got a while ago. So, but no, the chakra system still exists. I mean, what does that do if you're like a yogi or something, you're spending your whole life or whatever, like working on chakras? I mean, because it is really important, but we also have to work on the physical body, and they can dissolve. And they don't all have to dissolve at once. I think that they can be dissolved. And so I would just, if there's energy workers out there like listening, it would be interesting if you ever had a client on your table one day and you're like, oh, this chakra is totally dissolved and I don't see it. And the body is like taking over this part. I don't know, something to keep an eye out for.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I had an experience with my chakras that was, I mean, we hold pain in our chakras. We hold so much in our chakras, those portals there. And I had a pretty profound experience where I was working on retrieving a lifetime where I had lost a couple of children, 2 children. And I was I didn't realize it at the time, but I was holding one of them in my solar plexus, and he kept showing up for me everywhere, and I needed to bring him in. And I might have shared this before, but I just gone to bed, and this is where I'm in deep meditation all the time, and but not this night, but I just lay down to go to bed, and the whole room opens up, the ceiling opens up, and I hear this angelic type music, and the room fills up with light, and my eyes are open, and this beam of light comes down, golden beam of light comes down and hits me in my solar plexus, and I see this little boy rise up into this beam of light, and I recognize him as my son in a past life during the Civil War, and he's in a fetal position. He was 3 years old, and he had died, and I was still holding him in my solar plexus.
Oh.
And he rises up, and I don't see how far he goes up or where the beam of light is coming from. And then I hear this loud booming voice, "It is done." And the ceiling closes, and I'm back to this reality. And I'm like, holy moly, I was holding him in my solar plexus.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think chakra work is extremely important. I really do. Extremely important. Yeah. I learned that myself. So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I have a question for Tiffany Rose.
Yes.
I don't know do you do galactic astrology, and does that mean like it comes from I'm just saying Graham Forkut or whatever, and I don't know if you know who that is, but it's a total because when I think galactic astrology, I think of that, and he got a download like 30 years ago of an entirely different astrological system that is completely centered, where the center of it actually involves the grand central sun instead of being revolved around the earth. So it's a completely different system. So I don't know if you do that or not. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, my question is, what do you do? And the second part of that question is, have you noticed in your astrological readings, whether you're reading, if you can read the collective through the astrology, and if not, have you noticed any patterns that have shown up that relate to maybe disclosure that have come up at least in like single sessions?
I don't know about disclosure. Lots of past life things. So galactic astrology is still using the Western astrology system. I have heard that there's a group that have done it Vedic style as well. But galactic astrology was founded by Julia Balaz in Ireland. It's the same astrology that everyone else is using, except that it's going to also map the constellations and the stars associated to, your sun sign, degrees, and all of that. The degrees are then going to spit out constellations. So on people's charts, it can show collective trauma that they're coming in to heal. It can show individual stuff too, obviously, but I do see people coming in to heal different lineages, but it does vary because, we're pretty diverse Earth. There are different groupings. Like I see groupings of charts that are similar, and there's different groups coming in probably for different purposes, different collective missions or whatever. But I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I also don't know a ton about astrology. Like at least, like I have astrological friends, and it's like you can be in a conversation with them, and they just get so deep into it, and they short code stuff, and I'm just like,
Actually, so, I do too.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, can you, like, it seems like you can kind of, people are like, oh, I'm gonna read Trump's like chart, his natal chart or something, but I feel like you can take like a step back and like read, like, could you read the Earth chart?
Well, that's a little bit complex because
Okay.
in order to print the original natal chart, not even the galactic chart, just your regular birth chart, you need some information. You need the date, the location, and the time. So how would you do that for Mother Earth?
Year
if I-
one,
What location would you use? What year would you use?
universal one.
So
I'm sure
if I come to you for a galactic chart, then you're not reading a natal chart.
well, I am reading their natal chart and I am showing them astrology, but I will just say I'm not a 20-year astrologer like some of the others that can pipe out all the astrology. I'm way more into the galactic than I am into the astrological aspect, but I
Okay.
use the chart to gain information about the soul's journey, their origins, where they may have come from even thousands and thousands of years ago, which
Okay.
groups are supporting them right now, which ones they're trying to heal things with. It's really complex. So like when you print out a chart, you're going to get 3 pages of information, which if you don't know anything about astrology, it's going to look like gibberish to you.
Right.
But it gives me information to be able to guide them. And then, of course, I do a lot of other channeling with it. So
Okay,
the galactic astrology has quantum soul guidance with it. So we are going into the Akashic records. We are getting more information than what's on the chart. But often I will go in and get information from their records and then verify it on the chart or see if I can find it. I also get ancestors or shamans coming in that are telling me what constellation they're in down to the star, and then I can show it on the person's chart and say you've got people that are supporting you from here.
Okay, so you're basically using the astrology chart as sort of like a blueprint, and then you're channeling off of that and it's like opening little sort of portals and stargates for that specific person that's coming in. Okay, cool.
I have to highlight what Ashvin put in here when we were talking about chakras. And I want to know if you're still wearing your tinfoil hat.
Please say you are.
And Mike said, maybe as our frequency raises, the chakras will not be as needed as they are at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we'll embody light. Let's see. What is Jeremiah? I would say you would probably need the exact location, time after the Earth was born, and where in the galaxy it was born, as far as the question goes when you read Earth charts.
There's people that are far more experienced in that than I that maybe could. I could ask some of my more experienced astrologer friends, but
yeah, I was more just interested in your process and what you've seen, like pattern-wise, in people that have been showing up for you. Like
I get a lot of mystics, a lot of people who were incarnated with the Essenes or the Druids, or I get a lot of people who had past lives in religious environments. That just might be what I attract because I grew up in a fundamentalist religion and I have talked about that openly. So other people feel comfortable coming to me to talk about that.
Yeah.
I do a lot more beyond the galactic astrology, emotional coaching and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Okay. So Ashvin had a comment. From what Tiffany has explained to me and I have surmised, rather than just looking forward in someone's life with this standard astrological chart, just kind of looks backwards, or at least in another direction, to see past other planet. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. Totally. Oh, I wanted to mention I got this book from Elena Denon where it's called Encyclopedia Galactica. Okay. I just got it, and she is an amazing artist, and she has, the in with the Galactic Federation, and she has so many of stage 3 beings in our galaxy. And I marked some that look familiar to me that kind of maybe look like what I've seen. that I've interacted with. Here's a blue bean that I've interacted with, a cobalt blue male bean. It looks kind of like this, but darker blue. And this, she
You've
has this,
experienced that guy?
huh?
You've experienced that guy?
I have been on a ship with a bean that looks like this, much better looking though, because he doesn't
Was
look
he
that
nice?
intense. You look at, yeah.
He was nice? I
He was
don't mean
very
like that nice. That guy looks kind of intense. I'd be like,
He didn't look that intense,
okay.
but he.
Because that guy was like, my first question would be like, who do you work for? I don't know.
He had cobalt blue, dark blue, like the color of where our names are. That color was his skin, and he was in a uniform, and he had the his skin was more. I want to say, did you ever see Farscape? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
The series Farscape?
I'm the wrong person to ask if I've seen anything because the answer is no.
There's a blue bean on there. She's a priestess, and she's with the, on the ship with everyone, and she's blue. She's blue, and she has the kind of skin like I'm talking about. You know, the grainy or like a snake skin, I guess, kind of, sort of, but not a snake, but feels very soft because I felt it. And so, yeah, anyway, gorgeous. So, what?
Matching. She's very Sharon.
She's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
I know.
Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful green eyes. And here's one.
That's a pretty cool book. I like the images because there's a lot of books with like definitions and you're like, okay, but I like it.
It's an amazing book. And I want to say, the day after I read through this book, when I got it, and I shared this with you, Tiffany and Ashvin, I woke up and I'm looking at a screen, like a Zoom screen, a screen in front of my eyes, and there's all these beings, beings on. There was probably about 10 or 15 beings, 10 or 12 on the screen, just like this, but the whole screen is filled with these squares of beings' faces, and they're extraterrestrials, all different types of non-human or extraterrestrials. Okay, some very strange looking, and they're all look, and I don't know if we're having a conversation. It looks like we
names
are
underneath their pictures. Like, you should have like been writing down all the notes, like this is a that, and this is a that, and this is a that, so that you could come back and report.
I know. I wasn't in it long enough because I was kind of freaked out a little bit. But some of them. But I was looking around at all the beans, and one of them actually had a green. His face was like a huge tongue. It just went down over his face like that, but it was square. It was really weird, and covered his face. Maybe, I don't know. It was really weird. And then the rest of them were just not. I mean, I'm getting used to seeing them, and I know that's why I'm seeing this. And then right after that, I was on a bridge looking out over a runway, like a brown runway, huge runway, and I'm standing there, and I look to my right. I'm talking to someone, communicating telepathically, and I see an avian being. He's got white feathered head, white head, bird being. So I would say the more you think about these beings and the more you incorporate them into your life, the more you're going to see them.
Yeah.
So pick up that book with caution.
Be careful what you ask for.
You might get that blue guy.
Well, the blue guy I saw was beautiful, gorgeous. He was not scary at all. And I mean, she's got beans like this, and
Did that book just come out?
it hasn't been out that long. But this is a Sasquatch.
Oh, I love
But
the
they're
Sasquatch.
called, she calls them Kutu from the Azarian system planet Amuro Kotu. And they were on Maldek,
Mm,
you know, the planet
yeah.
that was destroyed.
Mhm.
And the Sasquatch, she said, we find this species also on Earth where they were commonly named Sasquatch and who were refugees from Maldek. So they came from Maldek.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're related to humans. And she gets all this information from her contact in the Federation, Commander Thorhan. But, and I've told that story about seeing a man in a uniform looking at me, and I didn't even know who Elena Denon was. And a month or so later, she's drawing this being that has the same, wearing the same uniform of the person I see in my vision, in my meditation. So my experiences, she confirms them for me. For some reason, I'm connected to that part of myself. Oh, and there's some cat beings too, some that are
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
yeah. Here's a
Mahana agrees. She just gave a snort. I know those cat beings.
some of these beings that look pretty scary looking are peaceful beings. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Here's some more cat beings.
So will you tell them the name of the title of the book again?
Ooh, that's a pretty one.
Yeah. These are from Sirius A, of course, we
Yeah,
know.
that does feel very Syrian.
Ashkara system. Yeah. These are royalty. It's called Encyclopedia Galactica, not Britannica, Galactica by Elena Denon. Really good stuff. Yeah. So, what else? Oh, I'm getting confirmation on stuff that I was told 20 something years ago. One is that the moon is a satellite and is not a planet. And I saw that 20 years ago when I was sitting in a galactic type of council meeting. I was overshadowed by a higher being, but they were talking about the moon not being a planetoid. They were just talking about it while I was there in attendant, observing. And I saw in my vision that it had been towed across the galaxy and put in Earth's orbit, placed in Earth's orbit by these ancient beings, probably the Anunnaki. And now I'm hearing people talking about that confirms what I was hearing, what I was getting 20 years ago. And I thought it was crazy, going crazy.
I thought the moon was a hollow bell filled with evil reptilians. Sorry.
I heard it was artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all true. Kind of where I land on that stuff. I mean, it is interesting. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah. Well, Lana Denon just said something about it that since the reptilians have been kicked out of our solar system, the moon is being taken care of, or we're apparently the alliance, the Earth Alliance, is healing it, I guess you could say. And so she talked about it being a satellite and that they are working on it for us, for humans to eventually, I mean, we're already going there anyway, but for humans to eventually be have mainstream knowledge of traveling to the moon. Yeah. open for business.
Oh, like we could just go, like we're going on vacation. I'm going to the moon for a week, like that,
Like that, I
like
guess.
a resort.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
an interesting prospect. How long would it take you to get there?
Right. Well, if we use Stargaze, it doesn't take time at all.
I want to go back to the reptilians no longer being here.
Yes.
So if they've been not allowed to come in anymore, is that what you said?
According to Elena Danon's intel and her contact with the Galactic Federation of Planets, of Worlds, that they have been what we call the Empire, the Sakara Empire, what they call it,
There you go.
the Sakara Empire, has been kicked out of our solar system. That there's been a lot of battles and a lot of people have died in these battles, but that they've been kicked out of our solar system, and also what they call the Nebu, the tall grays that had the Hive Queen. Star Trek and Star Wars are documentaries, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The Borg used to scare the crap out of me when I would watch Star Trek, and that's that tall gray hive thing that they had going on that was also infiltrated, she says. And I believe her intel. That's me. The hive, the gray beings, the bad gray beings that have abducted humans and used them for hybridization and for the secret space programs, and done some horrible things along with humans. Yeah, but what we have on the planet now is human negative beings, but the reptilians and the programs that they were doing, that they were working with the humanity, they made that that pact with the government, this military, back during Eisenhower's presidency, is null and void. Yeah. So that's what I understand.
Did you watch Alex Collier's release last August?
No. What release?
He basically came out and was saying that they had got the negative ones that were underground out, and that now we just had to worry about the humans that were corrupted. Which
Yes.
is what we're really seeing is the humans. But like Ashley was saying, if we can get the vibration high enough for everyone, then it's going to work itself out.
Yeah, we still have to do our work for sure. And that's what's going on. That's the battle on this planet. And apparently Earth is a really big deal in our galaxy. It's a really big deal what's going on this planet, because they're still trying to infiltrate other galaxies, and they're apparently being stopped because they don't stand a chance, from what I understand. But they were also kicked off of Mars, and that's being terraformed now with plant life, according to Elena Danon. And other planets have been liberated from them as well. But Earth is a big deal. We have the Envoy program, which are all the starseeds that have come here to be caught up in their reincarnation system. Yeah, we've got some comments here. Yeah, Alex Collier, he's another one too that has been a long time contactee that has the same type of information.
Yeah.
Take me to your leader, right? Ricky, did you get the name of the book? Here, I'll do it again. Galactic, or Encyclopedia Galactica by Elena Denon. Yeah. Oh, okay. Got it. So, Kira. Hey, Kira. I have seen blue beings, but lighter blue and only 3 feet tall. Andromedans, I have been told, that appeared during healing sessions on me. Sessions. And witnessed. Very cool. Yeah, the blue being I saw, I don't know what star system he was from, or where. I mean, I feel like I was one of them. I feel like I was on a mission, and we were that's what we were. Those were our avatars, because he was my partner. Yeah. The moon makes me nervous for some reason, maybe past life, or maybe the programs. Yeah, totally. Okay, let's see here. Whoops. What happened? Okay, show. I wonder if Lemurians still exist. I believe they do.
Just depends on the dimension, right?
Yeah.
What dimension?
Yeah. I believe that a lot of us that are here have Lemurian ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard, I don't know if it's true, that reptilians had taken over a lot of Mount Shasta of the Lemurian areas. Have either one of you heard anything about that? It was from a remote viewer that
Just heard that they wanted the Northwest for some specific reasons, something to do with the terrain, like the forests. They like the forests, but there was something to do with the wineries too, I thought. I can't remember, but there's a specific reason that they desire the Northwest.
reptilians?
Whoever it is, yes.
Are you talking about currently or in the past?
In the past.
Okay.
Like, I think it was being talked about around 2020 when we were having all of the fires, and there was a lot of stuff coming out about this area being desirable for some reason.
Well, apparently, according to Elena Janons and Tal, that we were liberated in 2021.
Then whatever I was saying was from before that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We Lemurians live on in those who have past lives. Yeah. As Lemurians. Yeah. Shasta. Yeah. And this was through, when I heard that, it was through, actually, you may know about him, the remote viewer that James Gilliland has on his show sometimes. I forget his name.
You're not
John something.
I don't know, but I know who you're talking. I know exactly who you're talking about, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it's John, but I can't remember his last name. So that's what he said. And this was 5 years ago or so, 5 or 6 years ago when I heard it. Real connection to Lemurian. Met someone in this life who recognized me from Lemurian. Mm-hmm. I believe it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is this? My Hmong people only scratch the shaman surface, not even on the realms, but the new age shaman are getting there.
I don't know exactly what, I just would be careful because there's a lot of what you might want to call like neo-shamanism. New age shamanism makes me a little bit nervous sometimes.
What is New Age shamanism?
It's like people that are claiming that they're shamans and they aren't linked into a tradition, like meaning they haven't been trained, because so much of shamanism needs to come through lineage. And then more recently, those lineage holders, right? Because we talk about the term lineage holder. And so if you're a lineage holder, you are like, I am the lineage. I am the embodiment of this sacred information. And sort of more recently, the sacred information is being shared to, we'll just say, Western world. And sometimes, maybe without intentionally knowing what we're doing, we can be recolonizing indigenous like wisdom. And so just because you might be working with like, or I don't know. I think that the I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but the Hmong people, which I don't really know anything about, regardless, the sounds that they make in any of their like traditions that they have are still anchoring in some really important frequencies into the earth to keep, and from my understanding, in indigenous bodies are holding key codes for the new earth. And so it is terrible anytime somebody from the like a last language of a population dies, because those are key codes and sound codes that are keeping like parts of the grid system and keeping things alive. And it's why there's been so much colonization. So it's to own that and close things down so that the earth can kind of be controlled. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with new age shamanism exactly, because there's plenty of people that maybe aren't like from some area in the jungle or something, but they've been studying with a lineage and really studying with the lineage, and that lineage holder is allowing them to come in. And then it creates this sort of morphic field where if you have a shaman and that shaman sort of goes bad because they're still human, right? And anybody can get drunk with power. Then you have to kind of realign yourself and sort of hold the frequency. And there is a little bit of a grace period in certain sort of um, I want to say tribal cultures, and I don't really like to use that word, but in some cultures where they will let them like see if they can like sort of right align again and not necessarily work with black magic, right? And I'm definitely speaking in like general kind of terms here, so I would just like be careful. I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I just would, I don't know, be aware of something that looks like new, shiny shamanism might not necessarily be aligned or at least rooted in a lineage. So there is an importance to be sort of rooted in a really particular lineage, whatever that lineage is. And this expands beyond like shamanic culture and into cultures in general, even if it's like a religion or something, but really like understanding, because I do believe that the age of the guru is dead, but there are some, and this is where we're giving our sovereignty over to people, but there are some like traditions here that have a really strong like anchor point and a rootedness that really aligns with sacred ecology, animism, and really being one with the earth and reciprocity having to do with the earth. And we have lost touch with that in so many ways. And so sometimes what happens is with sort of new age shamanism is we're like, oh, I like this from this culture and this from this culture, and I don't necessarily really care. So I'm going to bring it together and sort of make my own thing without necessarily acknowledging and honoring the parts of what you're combining to make your whatever you're going to call yourself. So that's how I'll get off of my soapbox. And I'm not, super clear about the comments. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say that. And so many of these indigenous populations and cultures are absolutely they're really like historically been gatekeepers and in communication with the star beings that have been visiting this planet for like decades and centuries. So, yeah.
Okay. So here's some questions here. A question from Paradigm Quest. A few questions. Who are the Zetas in Zeta talk? And does Sananda in your name refer to Jesus in the Council of Light? Finally, if I had an experience with reptile-like energy, who can help me process? All right. So first question: who are the Zeta and Zeta Talk? Zeta Talk? I don't know what Zeta Talk is. The Zetas are what I understand, and Elena talks about the Zetas in here. I think one of her books with beings.
They're also talked about probably in Craig Campoboso's book, The Extraterrestrial Almanac. In my understanding, the Zetas are Lyran refugees, but over time they lost the ability to procreate and started cloning themselves. A lot of the abduction stories that we hear about, it's claimed that they were already a Zeta. They came down and agreed to be taken so that they could study the genetics and save their race, which I believe they did. But they are also Lyran refugees, which I thought was interesting. Just wherever they ended up, they weren't able to keep making babies.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Basically, definitely, yeah. Sananda. Yes, it does refer to Yeshua or Jesus Christ, and Sananda Kumara is the name that I remembered when I was working with him. I don't know that a lot about the Council of Light. That's not something that is in my memory banks. But when I was working with Yeshua, I remembered that name of Sananda Kumara as his higher self name, and when I was working with him, I remember the name Sharon Sananda Kumara, and it's not a name that's given to me. I earned it. I earned it. And I'm part of that lineage. So that's why I use it. Yeah. Okay. Finally, if I had an experience with reptile-like energy, who can help me process? Well, we probably all could.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We probably all could.
Sure. Yeah, we all could. Yeah, if that's in your memories. I have many memories you're talking about reptilians, the Draco reptilians. There's different reptilians that are actually good beings too. But the Draco reptilians, the Sicars, that empire are the ones that have terrorized many galaxies and that were involved in the Orion Wars. Yeah. If that's who you're talking about. Okay. What else? Oh, looks like Kira ordered the book. Good. Yay. John Vivanco. Yes, that's him. I'm pretty sure. The remote view. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. TV. Oh, Stargate. Oh my gosh. I was telling Asgardians. Yeah, totally. Zetas, Asgardian disclosure. Yeah, totally. Okay. I've been hooked on Stargate.
And I remember that episode too with the Asgardians.
Oh, they're throughout the whole series. Yeah. Asgardians, and they're called Thor, Thor, Freya or something like that. Disclosure.
I was thinking of a specific episode, but now I see. I was looking at that wrong.
Oh, where he meets them?
Well, there was one episode where they ascend, and that's what I was thinking of when I read that. But
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, so don't tell you. I won't tell you.
Don't ruin it for me. Okay.
I won't.
I'm still in. I'm in season 4. Season 4.
Oh, you've got a long way to go. There's so many seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's like watching history there. I mean, such disclosure is right.
When you were talking about being underwater earlier, I was seeing visions of Stargate Atlantis, and they have these
like ships that they can fly, but they can also go under the water as well. And that's what that's why I was wondering if you were free floating in the water or in a craft or something.
Yeah, I don't remember being in a craft underwater. So that's not in my memory.
Either way, you'll enjoy that when you get there.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So here I took John B's remote class. It was awesome. Okay, Kira. Here's another New Age Shaman is update guides to today's going on in celestial guides. Oh, update guides. Oh, updating to celestial guides. That's happening a lot. I'm not
Maybe
feeling
like galactic shamanism or something, or like a star
Yeah.
shaman, like a
Star
non-earth
shaman.
based one. Okay.
I'm feeling the people that are coming to me and I'm working with, their guides are definitely being updated to more celestial, more galactic, higher frequency beings. Okay, thank you, Kabzuog. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Kabzuog. And then I think we have another question before we close. How many people on this planet have physical face-to-face interaction other than channeled, and how does that evolve in a person's life?
Exactly.
Well, I have
7,225.
face interaction. What'd you say, Ashley?
I said exactly 7,225. I don't know.
No.
I know
26.
that wasn't a question, but it's just funny.
Exactly how many people? Oh no, she didn't say how exact, or he or she. How many people? Yeah, a lot. A lot. Let's just say thousands and tens of thousands, millions of people are coming forward. I just finished listening to UFO of God with Chris Bledsoe. Amazing book. Who was having experiences back in the 80s. And it's not easy to be having experiences. Be careful what you ask for always. And how his his family was ridiculed like crazy. But anyway, well, you're looking at some here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who have face-to-face interaction. I believe that a lot of us have face-to-face interaction with otherworldly beings and don't even know it.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Because you're not going to say, oh, by the way, I'm from the Pleiades. I just flew in on my ship. I just came through the Stargate yesterday. So it's not something that that might be common knowledge. Yeah.
I think they've been down walking amongst us, just not
Sure.
openly saying, hi, we're here. Most of us, well, the ones who are open to it, we already know they're here. It's a lot of the hard part about accepting them being here is all the religions. People who have, that's all they know is religions. Accepting ET or off-world involvement would alter that for people.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And sometimes when you go to these conferences, like someone mentioned Comic-Con earlier, when you go to these conferences, I can't even say it, but anyway, you see beings that you align with that are bringing out the star being in you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? You start to see these soul mates that are like you, that are from other star systems, and you can recognize them. And as you start working with that part of you, you recognize the who we are as a star seed, as star beings. And I hope I'm making sense there. Alicia Rose had something here. Let's see here. I am curious about these extremely tall, thin, airy beings that I see. I've heard terms like Lyrans, light beings, White Brotherhood, and more. Are you able to share about these beings? Hmm.
When I first read that, I saw an image in my mind, and I want to say it was a PDF about Cassiopeia, the constellation Cassiopeia. That's just the image that I saw in my mind. I don't know if that's even related to what you're seeing, but I just like that's what came was something related to Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Um,
Go
so
ahead.
I think my advice would be next time you see them to ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was first looking, it feels I don't there are some frequencies here that are, they call themselves like the new Fae, and they're like hybrid Fae and galactic energies, right? So it's like this feels like, thin, airy, like it feels sure galactic-y, but also kind of earthy. And so there can be hybrid energies. But I think the first thing to do is next time you see them is to get really curious about them, because all these beings want to share so much information with us, but we have to ask the question so that they will share it. Otherwise, they'll just sit and stare at you until you ask a question.
Yeah.
So what were you getting, Sharon?
Oh, I was just going to say that if you're seeing these beings on a regular basis, they're probably part of you, a family. They're your family, maybe. And yeah, so go with your intuition always, and ask them. Like Ashley said, definitely can't hurt to ask. Can't hurt. Yeah, because it could be any beings.
The Lyrans went to tons of different constellations. Most of the groups are Lyran descendants. So
Right.
like we can talk about them being Lyran all day long, but it just depends on, where they went after they spread.
Yeah, and it seems like we all have Lyran in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all come from there, the human genome.
I was just reading Alicia's message.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good. 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 Okay. All right. So you're welcome, Alicia. Time to close. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for watching. And keep your eye on the sky.
Yeah.
And if you want if you want them to show up in your life and you want to see them, maybe you could study something like this.
Yeah.
And
Put it in your pillowcase and see what happens at night.
see what happens. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Ashley.